Welcome back to the Tahoe Today Show. Very special guest in the studio with me this morning, Bob Daly of Shoreline of Tahoe. But we're talking shaking the foundations of faith this morning. Evolution versus God. I love this. I've seen the trailer to it. Fascinating.
It is. This is from The Way of the Master. It's a guy in Southern Cal from New Zealand. His name is Ray Comfort, and he's just brilliant at kind of asking some prodding questions to pursue what the truth is about a matter. And I think it's really important to understand, where the origins of mankind came from. We have a separation of church and state, obviously, which I'm all for. I think that's viable and it makes sense. You don't want to be pushing anything on one person in a free country. But because of that, the only scientific theory that can be taught is the evolutionary theory. And over the course of time, there's some gaping gaps in what they're teaching our kids and claiming to be fact. And I think by default, that's the only story they can tell, but it's fairly tragic when it comes to the pursuit of truth. And this documentary we're showing this Saturday at Tahoe Community Church really prods the questions, and it's so thought-provoking because you'd be surprised at what we don't know about the evolutionary theory.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm of that same school of thought with you, and it's coming up Saturday, August 17th at 7 p.m. And if you ever have had those questions, what if, or what about this part about what I was taught in school? This is something you want to attend to get some of those questions answered, or to start the thought process of that. And even if you're set in your ways or your kids are asking questions, this is something to bring the whole family to and encourage conversation.
Yeah, we're going to do some question and answer after it. It's about a 33-minute little documentary, and we'll do some Q&A afterwards and stuff. So because people want to talk about it right away, they'll just like, wow, really? And it's pretty thought-provoking. It's one of those things. Have you ever learned something about World War II history, Nazi Germany, and you just kind of jaw drop and you go, wow, if I lived in Nazi Germany during World War II, I would stand up and say, this isn't right. And so we've all seen that in history, that there's been some duped bit of information that the whole culture has been duped with, and you think you're going to stand up. Well, you have to stand up and you have to pursue the truth. And I'm kind of here to say that, not that the evolutionary theory is going to dupe us into some crazy Holocaust. That may or may not happen in this day and age. But the evolutionary theory actually had some roots in the Holocaust too. It actually was a thought process with genetics.
It's early.
That word. Need more coffee. But the science community had a very prejudicial view of the evolutionary process in the beginning. And it did cause a lot of harm. I think it was one of the thought processes to bring forth the Holocaust. So not that that's happening again, but there's a lot of cold, thoughtless conditions that the heart of man kind of levitates towards if you don't understand the value of life.
Yes, you're created for a purpose.
You're created for a purpose, yeah.
And it's fascinating doing some of the studies that I have with my kids. Creationism isn't just, it's based on faith, but some of the science behind the creationism I have found absolutely fascinating. The science that goes behind the creationism, and this is going to start answering some of those questions, or like we said, encouraging the conversation. So
Well, it's really interesting just going through definitions. I mean, science actually means knowledge, and so when you're talking about the scientific process, we're talking about the empirical process, the touch it, feel it, seal it, test it, anything that you can recreate in the lab is science. That's the empirical part of it. But science simply means knowledge. So to claim that something is scientific means it needs to be a known fact, a known variable, and that's something that the evolutionary story just falls short on.
I'm with you on that one. And the only barrier to truth is thinking you already have it, right? So come ask questions.
Very good.
Evolution versus God at Saturday night, August 17th at Tahoe Community Church. It's 145 Daggett Way. You'll be there, and I'm so stoked you're putting this on, Bob. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Awesome to have me.
It's good to have you here. We'll be back. We have Captain Ron on the line from Ski Run Boat Company. Good.